Good morning. I don't know if anybody's here yet. I'm a little bit early. Looks like I'm about 1 minute early. So I'm gonna wait just a little bit. I'll make sure I don't start too soon today. So I'm glad you're here. I'm Marcy Bodwin. I'm the Director of Faith Formation at Valley Unitarian Universalist Congregation, and we're trying to do as much content as we can live. So Monday mornings, we've got story time. And right now we're focusing on the Unitarian Universalist principles. Today's the fourth principle. So hate to get started too early. So I'm going to take a deep breath, pause for a minute, think good thoughts for our world as we're hopefully climbing out of this pandemic. So I have here my principle sticks, which are just my little easy cheat sheets to remind me what the principles are. And today we're working on the fourth principle, which according to the rainbow is green. So I find the green one. Let's see. Just a little easy cheat sheet that I made. And on the back, I have my hint. Search for what is true. So our stories today are going to be suggestions of books that talk about how important it is to search for truth and kind of tell it in a fun way, hopefully. So I have a couple of suggestions for you, books that I happen to have in the Faith Formation library that I really like. This one, The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind. This is also a Netflix movie. It is a great story. I really like the Netflix movie too, about a boy in Africa, I don't remember which country, who found a way to make a windmill to help his family and his community. Another great one is She Persisted, written by Chelsea Clinton, and it is 13 American women who changed the world. Really nice to read about some important women. The book that I'm going to read this morning is Three Questions. It is a story based on a story told by Leo Tolstoy. A little bit long, but I really love this book. Take off the sleeve, makes it a little bit easier for me to read to you. There once was a boy named Nikolai who sometimes felt uncertain about the right way to act. I want to be a good person, he told his friends, but I don't always know the best way to do that. Nikolai's friends understood and they wanted to help him. If only I could find the answers to my three questions, Nikolai continued, then I would always know what to do. When is the best time to do things, is his first question. Who is the most important one? That's his second. His third question, what is the right thing to do? Nikolai's friends considered his first question. Then Sonia, the heron, spoke. To know the best time to do things, one must plan in advance, she said. Gogol, the monkey, who had been rooting through some leaves to find something good to eat, said, you will know when to do things if you watch and pay close attention. Then Pushkin, the dog, who was just dozing off, rolled over and said, you can't pay attention to everything yourself. You need a pack to help keep watch and help you decide when to do things. For example, Gogol, a coconut, is about to fall on your head. Nikolai thought for a moment, and then he asked his second question. Who's the most important one? Those who are closest to heaven, said Sonia, circling up into the sky. Those who know how to heal the sick, said Gogol, stroking his bruised noggin. Those who make the rules, growled Pushkin. Nikolai thought some more, and then he asked the third question. What's the right thing to do? Flying, said Sonia. Having fun all the time, laughed Gogol. Fighting, barked Pushkin right away. Then the boy thought for a long while. He loved his friends. He knew they were all trying their best to help answer his questions, but their answers didn't really seem very right. Thus an idea came to him. I know, he thought, I will ask Leo the turtle. He has lived a very long time. Surely he will know the answers that I am looking for. Nikolai hiked high up into the mountains where the old turtle lived alone. When Nikolai arrived, he found Leo digging a garden. The turtle was old and digging was hard on him. I have 3 questions, and I have come to ask your help, Nikolai said. When is the best time to do things? Who is the most important one? And what is the right thing to do? Leo listened carefully, but he only smiled. And then he went on with his digging. You must be tired, Nikolai said at last. Let me help you. The turtle gave him his shovel and thanked him. And because it was easier for a young boy to dig than it was for an old turtle, Nikolai kept on digging until the rows were finished. But just as he finished, the wind blew wildly and rain burst from the darkened clouds. As they moved towards the cottage for shelter, Nikolai suddenly heard a cry for help. Running down the path, he found a panda whose leg had been injured by a fallen tree. Carefully, Nikolai carried her into Leo's house and made a splint for her leg with a stick of bamboo. The storm raged on, banging at the doors and the windows. The panda woke up. Where am I? She said. And where is my child? The boy ran out of the cottage and down the path. The roar of the storm was deafening. Pushing against the howling wind and drenching rain, he ran farther into the forest. There he found the panda's child, cold and shivering on the ground. Okay, turn. The little panda was wet and scared, but alive. Nikolai carried her inside and made her warm and dry, and then laid her in her mother's arms. Leo smiled when he saw what the boy had done. The next morning the sun was warm. Birds sang and all was well with the world. The panda's leg was healing nicely, and she thanked Nikolai for saving her and her baby from the storm. At that moment, Sonya, Gogol, and Pushkin arrived to make sure everyone was all right. Nikolai felt at great peace with himself. He had wonderful friends. He had saved the panda and her child, but he also felt disappointed. He still had not found the answers to his 3 questions, so he asked Leo one more time. The old turtle looked at the boy. But your questions have been answered, he said. They have? Asked the boy. Yesterday, if you had not stayed to help me dig in the garden, you wouldn't have heard the panda's cry for help in the storm. Therefore, the most important time was the time that you spent digging in the garden. The most important one at that moment was me, and the most important thing to do was to help me with my garden. Later, when you found the injured panda, the most important time was the time that you spent mending her leg and saving her child. The most important ones were the panda and her baby. The most important thing to do was to take care of them and to make them safe. Remember then, there is only one important time, and that time is now. The most important one is always the one you are with. And the most important thing to do is to do good for the one who is standing at your side. For these, my dear boy, are the answers to what is most important in the world. This is why we are here. I hope you enjoyed that story. All right, my next story, I'm going to have to move the camera for you a little bit so that you can see my workspace. Sorry to make it a little shaky. Let's see. I think that's pretty good. Let's move the mouse. We don't need this right now. Okay. So a long time ago in China, I have to get down on the floor, don't I? Let's see if I can do this. Okay, so a long time ago in China, there was a boy named Ping. Here's Ping. This is Ping's house. Let's see, let's make a little setup here. There's a tree near his house, but Ping loves flowers. So we're gonna put some flowers all around his house because he always worked on flowers. Everything under Ping's care grew big and healthy. Even the trees could produce fruit. He loved them. Also in China was the emperor. Here's our emperor. He, of course, lives in a great palace. Make sure you can see him. The emperor also loves flowers, so let's put some flowers around his palace. He's got a lot. Okay. So the story begins. The emperor would tend his garden every day, but he was getting old, and he decided that he needed to find a successor to his throne. He thought long and hard about the best way to choose a successor. And because flowers were very important to the emperor, he decided that he would use the flowers to help him decide. So the next day, he had a proclamation read. Here's our proclamation. And the proclamation said, all children in the area of all ages are to come to the palace tomorrow morning at sunrise for an audience with the emperor. This is not something that happened often. So the next morning, all of the children, we have a whole lot of children, show up. You're here. Of course, Ping has to come too. He's one of the children. The children were each given a seed, and the emperor explained, you've been given a special seed. Go home and care for this seed. In 1 year, I want you to return and bring the plant that you have grown from this seed. Whoever grows the best plant with the most beautiful flowers will succeed me to the throne. This created all kinds of excitement throughout the land. Of course, all the parents wanted their children to become emperor. Ping was the happiest child of all because, he loved to grow things and he was very good at it. He was sure he would do a good job. So Ping got to work. All of the children went home. Ping got an empty pot and he filled it with what he thought was the richest soil he could find. And he planted the seed in there and he watered it every day and he made sure it got just the right amount of sun and he took care of it. Nothing grew. And he didn't understand how this was possible. Usually this came so easily to him. So he thought, well, I'm going to try again. So he dumped out that soil, found the seed, he got the new soil, put it in there with the seed, and he watered it and he watched it and he took care of it. Soon the year was up. It was time to show the emperor what had grown from the special seed. So all the children come back to the palace. And you know that they're all bringing their plants with them. Can I make this stand? Ooh. Here, look at all these beautiful flowers and plants that have grown from the children's special seeds. Okay, that's enough. Ping was amazed. How did these children all grow these beautiful flowers when he had just an empty pot? He was ashamed. He thought the other children and maybe even the emperor would laugh at him because he couldn't even grow a single flower. Ping's father reminded him, you did your best, and that is good enough to present to the emperor. So the emperor showed up and he walked among the children, examining the plants they had grown, the flowers that were evident there, but he had a frown on his face. And when the emperor stood near Ping, he said, why did you bring me an empty pot? And Ping started to cry. He said, I planted the seed that you gave me. I gave it rich soil. I gave it water. It didn't sprout. I tended it all year long, but nothing grew. So today I bring you an empty pot without a flower. That's the best that I could do." And as he listened, a smile grew on the emperor's face. And he put his arm around Ping and he exclaimed, "I have found him. I have found the one person worthy to be the next emperor." The emperor spoke to all the children and said, "I don't know where you got your seeds from, but the seeds that I gave you, we had cooked. Nothing can grow from a cooked seed." I admire Ping. He had the courage to appear before me with the empty truth. And now I reward him with my entire kingdom, and I make him the emperor of the land. I hope you like that story. I think it's pretty great to show the hardships that can be involved, but standing up to the truth. And when you're willing to be open to the truth, you can get rewards. I hope you have a great week. I'll see you on Thursday for some activities at home, and I will be back next week for another story. Have a great day.